Welcome to another episode of the 2-for-1 podcast. I'm your host, Dion, and alongside me on this lovely Father's Day Sunday, my co-hosts are here, joining me live where he is deservedly still riding high off his Knicks championship, as well as probably riding high off a nice dinner he just had with his family. It is the man, the myth, the Nate. How are you, sir?
I think, honestly, a lot of bad things could hopefully my life goes well, but I'm just saying, the next time something bad happens, it'll be okay, at least the Knicks won. At least they did that. And I think now my whole my whole basketball scope through my eyes has been kind of changed. It's like I put a new lens on in front of the telescope, and now I'm just seeing all of the stars and whatever the fuck else is out there in space and all the other space stuff. But instead of space stuff, it's basketball, and I'm just able to enjoy everything else that little bit more, because now at the end of the day, the Knicks won a title, and I can say that I saw my favorite team win a championship, and I can say no Larry to the Pacers fans of the world. But yeah, anyways.
What a way with words that you have, Mr. Taylor. How long do you think that'll last before you're back to getting mad at the Knicks for losing on a Tuesday night to the Pacers?
I don't know if it can happen again with this core, man, because genuinely all that anger I've ever had and the frustration, dude, Josh Hart, I don't care. You can fuck up and do all the dumb shit you want now. We won a title and you won a title. Aaron Hart is an NBA champion. I never thought I'd utter those words in my existence. I saw Celtics fans saying Knicks fans be warned, the high wears off faster than you think it is. I'm like, that's easy to say when you've seen 13 titles for your sports teams, the Boston sports teams in the last 25 years. This means everything, dude. Everything. This is so much more than one championship for Knicks fans. It's been so long. First, Celtics fans are much like Yankees fans, where they expect to be in the contention to win it all every single year. I didn't expect to ever actually see my favorite team raise the Larry O'Brien trophy. So I think the high is going to take at least a few seasons to fully wear off.
I still look at the picture of the crowd in Kawhi's sunglasses.
I'm sure you do, as you should.
I sit there, I look at Marcus All doing a stupid fucking little, man, as much as people are going to harp on, Knicks fans for being sitting there being oh yeah, championship. it feels genuinely good to be able to go, hey, now as a fan, it's house money. I could give two fucks whatever happens this following season. It took me till 2021 to not be man, it's all good. We won a year ago. We won 2 years ago. And then we traded away the core. And I went, don't matter. Still got mine.
Yeah, so, less than 48 hours away from the draft. We haven't had a ton of time to really dive deep into any of these prospects. I know you guys talked to Zark about some potential Bulls fits, but I want to take a more comprehensive look today at the first round. Definitely want to give us enough time to get to everyone worth talking to, but definitely have to spend some time at the top on this top four, or is it a top four, which is kind of where I really want to start. Mr. Sider, given that you are our draft expert, I want to kick to you first. Do you see this as what they call a four-man draft, or do you kind of differentiate between AJ Peterson, Boozer, and Wilson?
I'd like to stop you right there for a second. A little disclaimer, a little asterisk. Do not take what I say as gospel in any way.
Well, between the three of us, you definitely know
everything Mitch says. Mitch has never been wrong about draft information or a draft prospect ever. So if he gets anything wrong here, you can feel free to ask for his address. We will provide the information necessary to you.
I almost out of reflex doxed myself for a second there. I just was about to spat it out. So to jive right into your question, Mr. Seaman, this is a 3-man A-tier, S-tier draft. Caleb Wilson separates himself from, when the cream rises to the top, Caleb Wilson is that little bit of cream that's just a little thicker than the stuff on the top that you'd like for your coffee. While everything else is table cream, he's whipping cream.
Okay.
And whipping cream's good. It has its uses. You can make whipped cream out of it. Some fat people put it in their coffee anyway. but it's not the same as the creme de la creme that sits on top. It is not a, 1, 2, 3, 4 draft. It is a, here are the three at the top. Then there's Caleb Wilson. And then I'm not saying there's a sizable gap, but there's enough of a discernible gap that you can go, okay, Wilson is the consolation prize of not getting a top 3 pick. However, that's not to say that Caleb Wilson is a bad player. It's just to say that the shortcomings that he possesses compared to the other three are more glaring the holes in his game are more apparent. The comps are more kind of sporadic. And I think in the grand scheme of things, you're happy that Caleb Wilson comes to you, but you're not upset if somebody reaches for him in that 3, because then you're just like,
We'll take
Cam
the other
Boozer,
guy.
you're a bull. Okay. But like that's what I mean, right? Like if Caleb Wilson is reached in the top 3, I'd be very shocked. But whoever, you'd be very happy that he was picked before one of the other guys.
Yeah, that's where I ultimately landed too. I like Wilson a lot, and I think he's going to be a really good building block for the Bulls, presuming he does go fourth. I just don't see, like with the top 3, there's clear star upside. Like it's a very clear path to how they become the best player on a team, whether or not that team is
like
contender. But Wilson, to me, like there's just not enough on-ball skill, and I think there's actually quite a few holes in his defensive game. I know like the defensive versatility is like the big calling card, but to me, I think fundamentally he's not as sound as I feel like he's being talked about. So I don't see the star path for him the same way I do this.
All right.
I think
sorry, you go.
What I was gonna say is I think like Cam Boozer is more of a two-way ecosystem, and then Caleb Wilson's more of a two-way pressure engine.
Okay. Are these 2K archetype
there's a but like someone posted on Twitter the other day. I was like their top 15 players going into the next season. He's like Victor Wembanyama, two-way ecosystem. Nikola Jokic, offensive ecosystem. 3, Luka Doncic, heliocentric engine. It's just like buzzword slop that I feel like it's so commonly thrown around now, like for comparisons. And Mitch can go on to what he was saying. I don't really have. I can wait till what I was going to say.
What I see so many people make the comparison is, oh, Caleb Wilson is throwing the short roll pass. Oh, Caleb Wilson is able to operate from the high post just like Boozer. Always able to erase weak side mistakes. The difference is a lot of Wilson's highlights. I'll say this. I meant the best, brightest moments of Wilson in terms as a tertiary playmaker are very scripted. They're opportunities that anybody on a basketball court would make. It's not as though
if you don't see that, something's wrong with you.
Yes. It's not as though it's like, oh, he's got passing chops. That is very clearly a designed set play that has broken down the way that it should. And Wilson is the man with the ball in his hands at the moment. And therefore that's the immediate pass. His weak side eraser mistakes do not make up for the fact that this man gets backdoored like crazy, because he has what I would say kind of a mental lapse in a lot of the on-ball watching that he does. He'll do the occasional look back to the ball, look at his man, back to the ball, look at his man. Oh my God, my man's gone. Where is he? Oh, he's soaring to the rim. And Caleb Wilson, this is no offense on the motor, because there are some times where between the mundane, the languine moments, you're like, okay, he's had the stance. He really locked the fuck up. There's a lot of times where his closeout is just a lackadaisical hand up, and he wanders around a screen that he definitely could beat. It's these moments that are like, do you have another level to get to? Are you going to be a like comic collect Zen guy? And can you turn it up when the time gets tough? Because the difference between, the Caleb Wilson and the Cam Boozer temperament is that Boozer never seems rushed because he's so calm. Caleb Wilson never seems rushed because it doesn't seem like he cares.
Yeah, I like that.
The thing that
chime in on Wilson.
Well, yeah. What I want to say about Caleb Wilson, because I don't think I've watched as much as Mitch, and I didn't watch throughout the entire college season, so I've been watching games here and there. You guys sent me some stuff that I was able to go watch, and then I found other clips for other prospects. That's pretty much all I've been doing in my free time for the last week or so. Is just been watching since the parade has been watching prospects, and I think I'm really more focused on the top guys. I don't really know as much into the middle of the lottery as much as like what player, like the marginal things of why this player might be better than another guy. But what I've seen I've watched enough of the top 5 guys, and for me, I guess I'll make this point in a second, but I think people have become very infatuated with Caleb Wilson's body and his athleticism, whereas I don't really look at his game and see any go-to skills that he can just bank on, that he's automatically going to be good at. Like, I don't know what he gets to the NBA and immediately does well. Like, is he a good defender right away? He could be because of his frame and his athleticism. Is he going to be a good finisher? He could be because of his frame and athleticism. But I don't know what Caleb Williams, not the fucking quarterback for the Bears. Caleb Wilson, I don't know what his version of an all-star level player really looks like. I think his potential is high, but I think his floor is also like this could be like Jonathan Isaac, which isn't a bad thing. I don't think he's gonna have that motor though, like Mitch said. I see the defensive potential, but I also I question the IQ and the motor.
I feel good about his fit running pick and roll with Josh Giddey. We'll see. This will be a good test of what Tiago Splitter's capable of as a coach. I like the hire. So, compared to years past, I feel a little better about Caleb Wilson landing in Chicago as far as his development path. But not the most sound franchise in the world. So
what I was gonna say is, I know like the small guard thing is obviously people are wary of it. I think depending on what you need, like if you're the Nets, like I think Darius Acuff might have the argument to be the fourth best player in this draft. Like I'm so high on him. What I've seen from him, his passing already being as good as it is, the fact that he's probably going to be this go-to scorer if he becomes the player people expect and hope that he could be, while also being, I think, a much better passer than a lot of the high-level scoring guards were at his age. He's just a dog, and I love Calipari guards. Drafting a Kentucky guard has been pretty much like drafting an LSU wide receiver, an Ohio State wide receiver in the NFL, where there's no safer pick you can make from a program. And I know it's a new program, but I just really like Acuff. I think the way he talked about wanting to guard point guards and stuff, I think obviously he's not going to guard point guards, but the fact that he is adamant about wanting to be a better defender. He's not a great defender because of his size, but he doesn't strike me as someone who's not going to try. Like I think he gets to the NBA and he's this hungry. I want to prove how good I really am on this next level. I've loved his tape. I thought him in the tournament was also very. It was a very telltale thing of this guy can play in big time games, and yeah, I really think if I was a team outside of the top three and I needed a point guard, like that's like I'd take him over Caleb Wilson. I know that's probably not a common take, but from the research I have done, I really, really, really like Acuff, and he's definitely a tier above every other guard for me in the draft.
Does feel like there is that kind of glut after the top four of a bunch of point guards between
like
Acuff.
I see a lot of people putting Keaton Wagler over him, and I don't even see Keaton Wagler as a point guard, and I see a lot of people thinking that he's going to be like the next Tyrese Halliburton. I don't see that at all.
No.
I couldn't see much less of a much worse comparison other than their 6'5" frame.
Yeah, they kind of look similar on the court, but
they look like they're awkward, and their movement's a little awkward, and they're like the same size. I think that's why people say that.
But between him, Acuff, Flemings, Mikael Brown, even I'll put Burries in there too, even though he's clearly not a point guard, more of a two guard.
He's more of a two.
Seems like they're just kind of stuck in that middle of the lottery there. Mitch, talk to me a little bit about how you kind of differentiate those guys.
My thing with Acuff is he really is like the boomer bust kind of player. I think you could get the Darren Williams Gilbert Arenas hybrid, where he is capable of running and maintaining an offense by himself, where no matter what scheme you throw at this guy, he will just be able to find his shot on a consistent 44% on 6 attempts is an insane clip to hit in college. Like absolutely insane, because the degree of difficulty of shots, most of them are self-created, if not all, because Acuff himself is pretty much what I would say is one of like the few true own interrelated offensive engines. And what I mean by that is somebody who at any given point, we mentioned Darren Peterson before because people talk about his ability to play as the playmaker, the table setter, and as the scorer. Acuff genuinely does both. Darren Peterson is a two guard playing the role of a point guard. Darius Acuff could literally be both. He could be the leader of your franchise and the table setter. He could be your go-to scorer. However, the true ceiling is limited by if he is handed the keys to a bad offense that doesn't actually have any growing pains to help him learn, where it's just go out there, get yours, we'll figure out the rest later, because he needs a very specific set of players around him to really get the most out of him. He needs a specific franchise to empower him to make the mistakes, but to also let him know that those are mistakes. Not to just let him go out there, be a gunslinger, be the Cam Thomas 2.0, and just allow as many shots as he wants to go up. He needs accountability as well as expressive freedoms. Is Brooklyn that place? I don't know. But I do know that
I don't love Brooklyn, but I don't hate Jordy coaching him. I think Jordy's someone that would hold him accountable for sure.
I think if he enters the league and the shooting is real and it wasn't just like an absolute ridiculous like hot streak to end the entire tournament, if the pressure release valve of the fact that he's an automatic paint touch and can shoot 40% from the clip, then it doesn't really matter where he goes. He just needs someone to tell him, look, you can throw a lot of paint on the canvas, a la Trae Young with the Hawks, same kind of idea where you allow them. No, hey, there was a time where Trae Young was genuinely a top 5 point guard in the league, and that, in my opinion, that's like undeniable. Yeah, like the same idea where you allow him to make the mistakes, but you tell him, hey, reel it in. That was an audacious attempt. It was nice that you're trying that, but you're capable of making a more
like if he goes
better decision.
If he goes and gets coached by Doug Christie, it's like and apparently he wants to go to the Kings because Scott Perry coached his dad, and I don't know.
Yeah. I think the Kings makes negative sense okay, like in terms of we need a star to build around, sure. But identity-wise, that's a team that can't even decide what timeline they're in right now. Like
I said this off the pod, but I guess I'll say it now. Like, I don't like Kingston Flemings at all, and that's not like really. I'm not like I don't like Kingston Flemings. I'm sure he's a very nice guy. I'm sure he's a great young man. But I don't like 6'1" guards with 6'3" wingspans that aren't great at creating off the dribble or shooting from the perimeter. Like I don't see a path to a 6'1" rim runner being a very good player in today's league. I mean, unless you're like John Morant. Coming out of when he like his first few years, but that is also someone who has generational athleticism. Fleming's is fast as hell. I don't know how high he jumps, but I don't think he's quite John Morant. Could he be good? I guess sure, but I think if a guy like him goes to the Kings anyways, like that's just like destined to he'll be like Kyra Lewis 2.0.
Oh no.
Like I think the thing with Darius is that his floor to ceiling is the most volatile in this class. That if you get the best version of Darius, you might get I dare say it, the 3rd/4th best player in the class. If you don't, you're looking at a guy who, the team that drafted him might not be sliding the secondary extension to him. Might not be worried too much if he just goes somewhere else.
The teams who are doing that or who are in the position to take him, I feel like the Nets need to take a home run swing. The Kings need to take a home run swing. One of these teams needs.
That is the player that you take the swing on because. Yeah. The proposition of him getting to that ceiling is essentially as if you got a top 3 pick. That's what it feels like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys have helped alleviate some concerns there. Now, Nate, you said Flemings. I'm not a huge fan of his game either, along with Mikal Brown. I don't know. Like Mitch, you have them both pretty high on your board. Sell me on how they become starting NBA point guards.
Yeah. Okay. Starting is not even, that's a non-issue at this point. For me, when you ask me how do you differentiate them, you basically ask yourself, what kind of point guard do I need? Do I need a Kevin Johnson, Steve Francis hybrid? Okay. Kingston Flemings. You've seen how insane he can thread. Like the only thing that really worries me about Flemings is if you can't pump up the 3-point attempts, because 39% on 3 attempts is like the mechanics are there. It's not slow herky-jerky. It's not a 2-hitch. It's a very sound jump shot. If you can't scale that up at the next level, even if you only shoot 35% on like 6 attempts, that's still enough to keep the defense honest because you are De'Aaron Fox level fast. You are blitzing people because as soon as they worry about you having to potentially being closed out on at 35, 36%, you're at the rim. You're at that little pocket pass because people have to jump because they have to meet you there somewhere. The thing that worries me more about Flemings is that if the frame can't add weight, is he not going to be able to take a Tyrese Maxey level of like speed and agility with the ball and might be stuck on that Emmanuel Quickley tier where archetypally similar, but very clearly tiers apart. If this frame is going to be lean for his whole career, that might be a problem. If you worry about the height thing, you might be a little poised to know that he only got his shot blocked about 15 times this entire season. So he's really good at navigating away from a lot of those big hands. It would be great if he just grew 2 more inches on the wingspan. Like that's one of the other things is like usually the shorter wingspan equates to better shooting. So maybe as it scales
this is
up,
true.
Maybe as it scales up,
like Fox, John Wall, who else? Like I feel like a lot of the faster, like the Derrick really Maxey, Derrick Rose, like they all had longer wingspans. I think John Wall had like a 6'9" wingspan. That's why he was so good at blocking shots. He got his shot blocked only 15 times in college. I'm not even just worried about him getting a shot blocked. I'm worried about him being able to get to where he wants to be able to get, especially with how skinny he is. Like Tyrese Maxey, I don't think was that skinny coming out even, and like Quickly, who are pretty skinny guys. Like he's like Rob Dillingham almost skinny like levels. It's a little concerning, and I think if he actually is a good 3-point shooter at the next level, then you have another conversation. I just like 3 attempts, and I feel like the type of threes he was hitting just aren't like the threes he was taking aren't a lot of threes he's going to be taking in the NBA if he's a lead guard.
Mm-hmm.
To alleviate some of that, like at the rim finishing and versus the like, beyond the arc, 45% on pull-up twos is pretty damn good. He was very prolific the moment he got one dribble inside the 3-point line.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? That's going to be able to be a pretty
that's
big
where
game in the league. Like
I think that's where he reminded me of like the Derrick Rose a little bit with the midi pull-up that he has.
I see a world where Fleming's biggest issue is the fact that he can't scale up the 3-point shooting, but he's so good at transition. Like the problem will be for defenses is the moment that ball comes off the rim and it lands in his hands, because you are not going to be able to get back in time, because that's pretty much automatic for 99% of the matchups. I do truly like, I share the concern where it's like, the leanness could potentially become a problem if he just gets bumped off his spot anyway, if the straight line drive isn't there. But it's not uncommon for players who are, this skinny to add some more wriggle instead of weight, and to be able to maneuver through a lot of those bumps instead of around them. I think his biggest proposition is to like become a playmaker like a Kevin Johnson, where you can like, he might not ever be like an 18, 19, or even 20-point scorer, but if he can average like 15 and 9, that's a pretty good career for Flemings.
He's 18 pounds heavier, or he's 8 pounds heavier than Rob Dillingham.
Not a good sign.
That's
I mean,
scary.
again, I think again, you're putting a lot of emphasis on the weight, and Flemings has way more strengths. His start to stop speed is way smoother. His poise and the ability to adjust midair was way smoother. Dillingham's had some crazy hangs, but a lot of it that you see from Flemings is way more control. It's not flinging and then throwing it up with his left. He's able to absorb with his base. He's able to maneuver around a lot of those arms. I think what separates Flemings from the Dillingham kind of like archetype is that Flemings also knows when he's about to get smothered and can get rid of the rock before that. Dillingham very much, my head's down, I'm committed to this play, and whatever happens. Flemings is like, okay, guess who I have in the corner? I have a flood out, and boom, it's an open 3. He can see the game. He steals a lot of like the Tyrese Halliburton, where it's like, okay, the change of pace is getting really annoying. I'm going to go for a steal, and boom, he's gone. Okay, well, maybe next time I'll just stay put. Oh, and there's a lob throw. Okay, well, how about I just face guard him? Oh, never mind, he hit a backdoor. Like Flemings can see the game at that speed and also beat you off the dribble at that speed. So I don't think the leanness is going to be as big of a deal unless he's put in a situation where it's like, all right, go guard Jalen Brunson at 35 feet. And it's like, sorry, that's just not gonna happen.
Then your coach is probably Doug Christie. But what I was going to say, but hold on. Has the fastest player, maybe I'm just like don't have it off the top of my head, has the fastest player in a draft ever been bad? Probably. Like there's probably been like, but I feel like the ones that I can think of are usually end up being pretty good point guards.
That's a good trait to have, for sure.
I feel because I think that's actually a more important stat than I was initially ingesting it as, is being blocked 15 times, the amount of times that guy probably drove to the rim in his college season. And remembering, I haven't watched him and Mikal Brown. I haven't watched as much tape on as the rest of the other guys that we've talked about so far. But like Flemings is definitely a skilled driver. And maybe I am overblowing the weight a little bit. Maybe he's not Dillingham prone.
Perhaps. Well, I wanted to ask you, Mitch, about the Arizona kid Burries, because you have him 5th on your board. He was someone that I was very high on, and I think you've kind of creeped your way up there as well. Do you like his fit being the 5th pick? Like, do you think he makes sense to land with the Clippers?
So I have him on my big board as like the 5th player. I don't necessarily think that means he's going to be on the Clippers, but I think it would be a safe bet for the Clippers, mostly because I say this very sparingly, because this is not to disrespect Nickeil Alexander-Walker at all. But I think the worst version of Burries you're getting, and I think Nate shares the opposite sentiment, as in this is the best version of Burries you're getting. But I think the worst version of Burries you're getting is the nod that we saw this year, who's a prolific scorer.
That's
who
worst
has-
case.
Who had
You think the worst-
again? We've had this discussion over group. Don't
I'm
act
gonna-
surprised. We've
No, I'm
sent
gonna
this
kill
text
you.
like 15 times.
Hey, Mitch,
But-
look, come here. I'm gonna squeeze your fucking head, okay?
Excuse me. I like Burries because everything that makes you enthralled with a player like Cam Boozer, with a little things guy, the king of the little things, Burries has those in spades. He doesn't lack size. He doesn't lack strength. He doesn't lack accountability. He doesn't lack temperament. He's active on both sides of the ball. He does everything that you almost have to find yourself like nitpicking parts of his game to find like the biggest like glaring weaknesses. Like, oh, he had a very slow start from three before the new year hit. It's like, yeah, and then he turned the fuck up and started hitting his threes. He finished the year hitting 40% on like 5 attempts, I think, or like 4.5 attempts. The thing with Burries is you normally don't find because he will be a 2 guard in the league.
Yeah.
I'll say this. You normally don't find a guy who plays with such urgency on both sides of the ball. He's there to create and to get his and to also lock you down. It's hard because you're probably gonna hate this one. He's got a lot of like that Josh Hart ridiculous grab from nowhere. Like you see him come off the side of your screen, grab a board, leaning outside of out of bounds, throws it off someone's leg. The next possession comes in, brings it up, bombs a 35-footer. Like he does a lot of things that you go, that shouldn't be like what is currently happening.
Josh Hart with brain cells would be a hell of a player.
That's what it's pretty much like. Imagine you souped up the central processing of Josh Hart's brain, added the abilities of Nickeil Alexander-Walker, put in a little bit of Desmond Bane in there. Like there's a lot of things.
Okay, so
that
he's
Burries,
just like going to be the best shooting guard in the league, is what you're telling me.
I think I think Burries' worst case scenario is one of the best complementary players that we've seen in a long time. And I think his ceiling, while it might not be like as crazy high as you want to like attribute A-Cuffs to, and I will concede that Burries might not ever reach that like all NBA second team level guard. I think Burries is going to be a consistent contributor on like a championship level team, even like maybe the 1B or two man on that championship team.
You know what else I'll say about him that I think points to that is I think being a star, but also starring in your role on a very good team, on a very good program in college means something. And he also, I don't think we're going to talk about Koa Pete yet, but he also played with another guy who's probably going to be around a lottery pick. So being able to share that spotlight or whatever, I think there is something to be said for that, just like there was with Stephon Castle after a national championship in a week class.
You stole the idea right out of my. Right I could get it
I'm
off.
sure
Yeah,
you're the first person to ever think of that.
No, but that's what I was going to say next. Is what I really like about Burries is the fact that he was able to fit into a role alongside a bunch of other talented players. He seems like a guy
And
that
still stand out.
Yeah, he's going to be able to figure out in a winning situation. And I was going to compare it to Castle in his year at UConn, where he was kind of like a souped up role player. Like he kind of was like the glue guy on that team that filled in all the missing pieces. I think Burries did a lot of that. I don't know I'd necessarily compare them as players, but very similar roles. And I think there's just a ton more to his game than what we saw in Arizona.
We didn't talk about Wagler or Brown at all.
Oh, we did. We did kind of skip past Wagler. Yeah, I think the shooting is legit with him. I don't have any doubts that he's going to be a quality offensive player.
He's just like the most obviously good role player to me. Like I don't see any way where that guy's a star.
I could see it. I mean, the highs are pretty high with him. He had some really standout performances, and it's a guy that came out of nowhere too. Mitch, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't even think he was like a top 100 recruit.
He wasn't. He was like 115th or something.
Yeah. So there's a pretty high ceiling there, I think.
I actually see a lot of like end of Oklahoma season Austin Reeves kind of looks in him. Where like he's poised and he's confident in what he's able to do. He knows that he's had like this kind of roller coaster Cinderella journey, and then he's like, okay, you know what? I am fucking him. I am this guy. I could be this next level threat. My thing is what Wagler's really gonna have to do at the next level. Separation off the dribble. Right now, it's a lot of tough shot making. Like his shots were like, that's not a good shot, but it went in. So whatever.
Yeah,
like
and those windows are going to be smaller by
he has what I will say is he has a very nice jump shot. Like the mechanics are all very sound, and he gets his shot over people very well. Like he is like it doesn't. If a guy contests him late, he's like, oh okay, I already got to my shooting motion. Like you're done.
Yeah, Mitch, I wanted to ask you with Wagler, what I don't know if you can find an exact player comp or the exact guy, but what type of guard do you think would pair best with him to bring the best out of his game?
This might be kind of like a trope-esque kind of thing, but I see a lot of I think in this class, he's one of the best like processors in terms of like, okay, here's like a really awkward scheme. I need you to figure out how to beat it. I think a guard a la Kyrie, where you're able to just
Really?
let live and cook together. Like each of you are your separate entities that can have your offensive enigmas like sorted out. With Wagler, it's very much like, here is what your fate, like here's a Rubik's Cube, solve it. And he's solving it with this hand, and then he's giving you a shovel pass with the other. I think the thing with Wagler that might be a little. Yep.
Can I give you a comparison that I actually liked that I thought was random, and then once I thought about it and watched this guy back,
Is
and
that
then
what you
went
were thinking
back
about
to-
when your camera disconnected just now? You left.
Yeah,
to
that's
go-
definitely what I was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
that's what
Yeah,
I was
go
thinking of. But I think do you remember Grizzlies the one year that Tyreek Evans came back and was really, really good for the Memphis
my
Grizzlies?
God. What a random comp. I like that.
Yeah, I
okay.
know. That's why it was so random. I saw it on I don't know, was it Twitter or Reddit? I was looking at somewhere. I was looking at mock drafts. And I was like, you know what? Let me think about that. Then I went back. I watched Tyreek Evans and I watched Wagler, and it's a lot of the where I feel like Wagler isn't more of a point. He's more of a point forward to me, or like a combo guard than a true lead your offense point guard, similar to like Austin Reeves, like Mitch just said. But he's a very good secondary playmaker who can also be your first, your main ball handler at times when needed. He makes some really tough shots. He doesn't really have any, I think, spots on the floor that are necessarily go-to spots, but I could see him like, getting spots that he's really comfortable with once the NBA comes around and he starts to figure everything out. But I think the fact that he also improved this much from going from a nobody basically, or like a guy who wasn't on anyone's radar, to being this good, that gives me hope. But I guess I don't see him as being a superstar, like a potential superstar, but I don't think there's any way that he's not at least a very good player.
Yeah. This might be kind of a weird one, but like, it's almost a little bit of like Ty Jerome, where you're like, for a guy your size, I expect you to be a little more explosive, but you've somehow managed to build your game around the fact that that's not a part of my game. I'm not going to be a high flyer, so I'll be able to manipulate defenses my way. I'll be able to become a blitzing shooter. I'll be able to be positionally smart, but passable in most like possessions. I think he's probably like top 3, if not number 2 in terms of like just straight pick and roll readers in this class. And it really will suck if he's, sent to a team that doesn't have like an actual rolling big man that could sufficiently make use of that.
What happened, Nate?
I think if like, we talk about what ifs in the NBA and things that players' careers that you could wish went better than it did, or at least went a certain way.
You thinking about Tyreek Evans now?
I think Tyreek Evans might be one of my like top 3 choices for that dude. He was out of the league a year after. He played 1 year in Indiana afterwards. He signed, I think, a decently big contract after that really good year in Memphis, and then he got like suspended for PEDs or something, or some drug, I thought it was, for like 2 years, and then he just never came back to the league. That 1 year in Memphis, he randomly became a really good 3-point shooter all of a sudden, and it was just. He averaged like 26 and 6. I was like, what the fuck?
I mean,
like,
it was probably PEDs, no? So I don't know. But yeah, I mean, to
we
go from
we saw it in his rookie year.
Yeah, rookie of the year to then just like out of the league so quick was a weird
Like
one
if he wasn't drafted to the Kings, I think he would have had such a fun career.
Yeah.
Anyways, enough Tyreek Evans talk.
All right, let's move past the glut of guards in the middle of the lottery. Mitch has what he called a hot take about the Washington big man Hans. So lay it on me, Mr. Sider.
So Mr. Steinbach has, in my opinion, the potential to be probably the 5th, 4th best player in this class. Steinbach has what people have done is they saw that in 2024 he measured at 6'9" without shoes, and then have labeled him a tweener ever since. Well, newsflash, his new combine measurement is 6'10" barefoot. All right. This motherfucker is no longer a tweener. He's either going to be the most deadly 4 that you're going to have to fucking throw a bunch of problems at because, oh my God, he's an immovable object who has a post bag, who can put the ball down and take you off the dribble, who is not afraid to put a little wiggle in his game. He's got a lot of north to south. He's got a lot of east to west. Or you draft him to be your 5, and he's now the perfect connective tissue. He's the perfect. You could be a floor spacer if you wanted him to, but he's also a fucking menace down low. I like just to put it into a little bit of perspective. Washington did him absolutely zero favors to set him up this season. He had so little guard play ran for him, and he still put up 18 and 12. Hans, in my opinion, could have one of these like, oh, duh, like of course this guy was going to be so fucking good. Like 5 years from now, you go, oh, look, Steinbach's third team All NBA again. Crazy. How did that happen? How did we not see that? I think it really is team dependent. Like at this point in time, I think there's enough like murmurs around him that he's probably not going to fall all the way to 19. But if he fell all the way to 19, the ropes I would shoot. The things that I would do if somehow this man ended up on my team. I think I'm unfortunately in the minority when I talk about how high I am on this guy. I think as we get closer to the murmurs on draft night, people go, oh, he might go 8. Oh, like it's stuff like that. Where Mara had this kind of like, oh, great agility, great shuttle run, like all these things. I think we might have like paradigm shifted where people go, oh, Steinbach could be a 5. Why not take him over Mara? Like, why not? Like, there's these kinds of things that he's flashed that make me go, could be a floor spacer in this league. Insane finisher at the rim. I mean, for a big man, you'd want that, but like 72% at the rim. 72%.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy. Not to mention, he's not coming in light. He's going to be coming in 250.
Right.
Like,
well, you know what
this is a freight train running through you, and he's not shy about it.
What I'm surprised you didn't mention is the rebounding, because I watched like a 2 to 3 minute just montage of him grabbing some of like the grossest rebounds. This dude's going to average 13 to 14 rebounds a game in the NBA, and I'm like actually serious. Like he probably will be if he gets the minutes and he pans out in other areas. Like this is your NBA leader in rebounds at least 1 or 2 seasons once he starts to get real minutes.
He has had some Kenneth Fareed-esque jumps for the fucking boards, man. Like there,
and he just once he gets one hand on it, it's not coming. Like he grips the ball so damn hard. Pause. Oh my god. But he's just a man. Like the dude is freakishly strong. He doesn't even look all that muscular. Like he's lean, but he is so strong. You can just tell by the way that he moves and grabbing the rebounds. And if a guy tries to back him down or go in on him, they just like bounce right off of him. I haven't watched a ton on him. I feel like you're one of the few people I've seen that have him over Morez Johnson. I feel like Morez Johnson's been the guy who's kind of risen as the number one power forward prospect in the draft. But I think Germany has a pretty good track record with NBA players in the last 20 or so years.
Daniel Tice. Sorry, I don't know why that was the first one that came to mind.
But I was going to say Franz Wagner.
Yeah. The craziest thing, he could literally just be Franz with like a 6'10" frame and physical. Like that. That's the craziest part. Like you give a man who could average double-digit boards, shoot 35% from 3, and just have Franz's ability in the open floor. Like Jesus Christ.
Hold on, I'm checking my YouTube history to see which game I watched of his.
Yeah, he's very interesting to me because he's probably the highest consensus player that I haven't really fully scouted in. I've just done kind of like the 20-minute YouTube scouting tapes. So I'm aware of like the archetype, and I think it was Legler compared him to like Minnesota K Love, which I think would be a fantastic output, obviously. But yeah, you putting the context behind the situation makes me really interested, knowing that maybe Washington didn't have the best guards and the best offensive system around him, and he's still so productive.
If he's Minnesota K Love at 6'10",
you're like, that's the comparison I keep seeing is Minnesota Kevin Love. That's the one I've seen the most.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, the rebounding, it makes sense.
That's actually what's his name? I forget his name. What the hell? Oh, Legler. Legs said that he. Oh, that's you.
That's what I just said.
Oh, I thought. Okay, never mind.
Mitch, could you see OKC taking him?
I hope not, but 12? I could. That's very, very possible. I hope they don't. I hope teams do this thing where they go, well, obviously the Michigan big man that fucking stayed the course for defense. Like what I hope happens is nobody hears any of this. Steinbach keeps falling, and on draft night, the Raptors are like, holy shit, fuck Sturts, bro. Like fuck, let's go.
You put a lineup of Hartenstein and Steinbach out there. No one's getting a rebound over you.
No, dude, you you could pray, you could get on your knees and sacrifice to try to get a board over those guys, and it just wouldn't
There's
happen.
got to be some nickname, some like the Bratwurst brothers or something, because they're both German. I don't.
Well, hey, we'll get there when we get there. But speaking of big men, though, I did want to talk about the 3 Michigan guys who are getting some late lotto buzz. I have
talk.
my board. What's it called?
We need to talk about Mara like now.
Mara. But
Mara.
whatever it is, yeah, I definitely want to talk about him. I've seen obviously like the Zach Edey comparisons. I don't really think the game is very similar. They're obviously just 2 huge guys. He did a lot, like compared UCLA to Michigan for this guy, like a whole different player for sure. But I still don't know that I buy the fact that he's going to be able to run up and down the court, move with guys side to side. I do have some concerns there, and I also am not the biggest fan of like if people talk about him kind of like an offensive hub, like he's Sabonis or something. He's got good passing vision, but I just don't really see him being a high usage guy by any means. So I think he's just
probably like Hartenstein best case scenario in terms of passing.
Which that feels pretty
which is
high.
good, but it's not like you're not running an offense through Hartenstein regardless most of the time. I mean, he can provide some offense in terms of running plays out of him in the post, but you're not like going down like he's Jokic or Sabonis and being like, okay, run our offense because you're this good. His passing isn't good enough to be like this is a reason we're taking him, because he's probably like Zubats can pass. He's probably on that level.
Yeah, Mitch has him the highest of any of the Michigan guys, so I want to hear his.
I just want to give you a stat though, because so to talk about the Edey comparison. Zach Edey in college played as a freshman 14 minutes, only started 2 of 28 games. Then his sophomore year started played 37 games, started 33 of them, played 19 minutes a game, then 32 minutes a game his junior year, and then in his senior year 32 minutes a game again. If you look at Mara, whatever, however the fuck you say his name. He played 9, 13, and then 23. I don't think this guy's going to be able to play actual NBA minutes. You're going to draft a bench player with a lottery pick if you take him, I think, that high.
Mr. Sider, your rebuttal.
Yeah,
tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong. Again, I have him that high, but all of the Michigan guys I have lower than a lot of people have. That's like I'm low on them in the sense where it was defensive by collection. It was a collective effort of having this, imposing ginormous bodies who are throwing themselves all over the place. Sheer size in the NBA, however, it's in demand. You have to find guys who you can throw at Wemby, regardless of how fast or slow-footed they might be. You need size. And at 7'3", it's still going to be somebody. I mean, there was Edey concerns when he came into the league. I'm not going to forget the receipts where everybody was like, this guy won't be able to slide. This guy's going to be beaten off the dribble a lot of the times. Yeah, same thing. Mara might actually be slower than Edey somehow, some way. However, he's got a wider base. He's got much more room to work with in terms of, okay, maybe this guy could add weight that just makes him bang down low and try to keep Wemby out of the paint. The reason that he is as high as he is because Victor Wembanyama exists.
Yeah.
All right. He's got a 7'7" wingspan. You need somebody to bother him. If your name isn't Colin Murray Boyles, you're probably not sub 7 foot bothering Wemby. The other thing is his offensive game is fairly uncomplicated. He stayed close to the rim majority of the time. Most of his field goal attempts, I think like 60% were in the restricted area, and he converted on 83% of that. 83% is fucking bonkers. Like, I think that's enough to have ridiculous rim gravity that somebody goes, okay, 7'3" guy, we can't teach height. We can teach you to have a tighter handle. We can teach you to be the Marc Gasol short roll hub, but we cannot teach somebody who has a 7'7" wingspan and 7'3" build. Like it's
Just
the
what if you ask
ability.
them nicely?
You could try, but the J. Kyle Mann edition has labeled him the Spanish imposition because he's just absolutely large. His presence alone is gravity. The fact that his presence is a deterrent from you entering the restricted area. Not even because he is a capable rim protector, but because you're just like, holy shit, 7'3" with a 7'7" wingspan. I can't get a shot up off near this guy.
Yeah.
I think you're underselling the passing a little bit.
All right, I might be.
The flair and creativity from both hands is actually fantastic. He's completely ambidextrous with how he delivers them. He's slinged left-handed bullets and shovels like you'd go, oh, is he a lefty? No. the craziest part is, I'm pretty sure he almost had, it was like a 0.9 or almost like exactly 1.0 from his assist to usage rate when operating from the high post, which would be an NCAA record, but it wasn't because he tied with like 3 other players. But the idea is that the passing is a legitimate ability.
Okay.
You know it's not an ability, the free throw shooting, and that's what leaves a lot
59%.
to be desired. 58.5.
Oh,
I'm not
sorry.
even gonna I'm not
Sorry.
even gonna get 59. The thing is, if it's not a dunk, a lay, or a little like hook shimmy, it's probably not going in. He's taken a couple stationary threes. He doesn't lack touch, but he's going to be a guy where they're like, okay, all of the physicals are there. We just got to work on the intangibles. And in a league where, I say this very sparingly, there is a surplus of I can go get my 20 kind of guys, and there's not a surplus of 7-3 guys who can bother pretty much everybody in the entire league. There's going to be demand for him pretty much from anybody. Like if OKC takes him, I wouldn't be surprised.
That's what I was going to say. Is I think if you're drafting him with the idea that he's going to be a specialty player, like probably off the bench guy for most of his career, and you're a team like OKC, then I think that's a dream pick. If he somehow falls to the Spurs and the Spurs somehow got him, or the Spurs traded up and got him, then everybody's screwed because then
I'd be a little pissed off if that happened.
Wemby could have like a legit guy who can sub in for him for 15 minutes a game and give him legit rest, and hopefully
you could play them next to each other and you just have him roam the paint.
Oh
God.
God.
Dude, you pretty much like, oh damn, he really got by Wemby at the free throw line. Sucks. Okay. There's another 7-3. Yeah, I was like, there's like it's the idea where like if you pair him with another guy who has like insane gravity like that, you're fucked. Like you're hoping that you shoot 50% from beyond the arc because he literally does just he shrinks your ability to make mistakes towards the basket. And that's pretty much all you're asking for a guy who can just anchor your defense like that.
I feel like Golden State, I feel like if they're going to actually try to compete too next year, like he's probably a good fit
That'd
for
be
them.
a nice ass fit, yeah.
Because he finally would be someone that has when is the last time the Warriors had a legit interior presence? I think probably Al Horford this season was probably the best thing that they've had.
Yeah,
Draymond. It's been Draymond. It's been
Trace Jackson Davis, bro.
His huge, his massive badonkus.
Let's start to zoom through some of these like mid to late first.
I thought you wanted to talk about all the Michigan guys.
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Michigan guys, and you're
we
like,
spent a long time on Mara though. But yeah, I mean Yaxel. I think it's pretty straightforward with Yaxel. Like he's about to be in his prime tomorrow. Like he's a pretty much almost fully developed player. He's going to be solid. I don't think there's too much to really say there. I don't think he's that fit dependent. I don't think that there's
the guy. I'd be surprised if he's bad. I'd be surprised if he's really, really good.
Yeah, it's pretty
straightforward there. You're getting PJ Washington. Like you're just drafting PJ Washington.
They look like they have the same exact body type too.
Yeah, that's you're drafting him because you're like, okay, there's an established NBA player who already can score 16 a game, grab 7 boards.
He's probably an ideal player for like Detroit to go get.
Yeah, that's like the reason that I'm not as high and I have them right next to each other is because he will be 24 when he suits up. And what you see is what you get. I think what you're getting is, again, if you get PJ Washington, awesome. If you get Marcus Morris, Otto Porter Jr., like the
one thing I'll say is that he had obviously a very late bloom, and he's still gotten better every year, even despite being older than a lot of other guys. So maybe, who knows, maybe he can get even better.
If somehow, some way, he becomes an Aaron Gordon replacement, there you go.
I don't. Morez, we don't have to talk too much about. I feel like Morez passes the name test. He looks like he'd be a cool NBA player, but I don't.
He does have the. I can see that on the back of a jersey.
But I just don't know what he really does for an end. Like he doesn't have any real. He's a run and dunk guy on offense. He'll get some rebounds, and he's not a legit 5.
He's Montrezl Harrell.
Kinda. I feel like that's kind of disrespectful to Montrezl Harrell's 15 to 20 foot pull up.
Yeah, offensively there's not as much there, but I think he's a way better defensive player. Trez was never much defensively. So
I think Morez will give you size, and I just don't like there's no world where I feel like he becomes a starter. He just isn't. He's a
I
traditional
agree.
power
Yeah,
forward.
he's going to be a
Yeah.
great plug and play player that helps fill out a good team's rotation.
I
But
think he'll have great energy and be a guy that can probably give you something and a spark in 15-ish minutes a
yeah,
game. But
I
don't
think
feel
like a
he's-
third big potentially, something like that.
Yeah.
But he feels pretty safe to
Precious
at least be
Achua.
that.
Precious Achua.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I don't hate that. Mitch, I wanted you to give me the elevator pitch on. I'm pretty sure I'm saying this right. Jaden Quaintance. It's a name I've heard before. I've come across. I've seen.
Oh,
I'm
you don't know
vaguely
about
aware
him?
of his game. Yeah, he's
So-
another guy's kind of slipping through the cracks. There's like 4 or 5 guys that are like almost definitely going to go first round that I haven't. This is like the least I've done. I'll be honest when it comes to like
Did
draft
you-
scouting.
he was-
Because
Did you
I know there
see
seems to
my,
be a high ceiling there.
Did you see my 3 asterisks?
Yes.
Okay. So he played 4 games for
You look like
Kentucky
shit.
that were not good games, right? I think how many did Garland play for Vandy?
5.
He played 5. Yeah.
He played 5. Okay. And where did Garland went 5th?
He was the 5th pick. Yeah.
I always forget DeAndre Hunter, man.
Oof.
So
National
I
champion
think-
DeAndre Hunter.
I think what you do you look at how young he is. You look at the fact that he's 6'9" and like 252.
Mm-hmm.
You look at what you do have to go on is that he reclassified in 2025, I think. And his freshman season in Arizona was one of
Yeah.
the most
No,
I'm
Arizona
going to-
State.
Arizona State. I'm going to dunk every possible thing I can and try to put
He
bodies to the basket.
He was.
No, if
Oh,
you're gonna
he was
chime in.
also he was also a 17-year-old in college last year.
Yeah. So what I will say is complete dark horse because I don't think there's any way that you could like realistically pitch this is why he should go 10 or 12 or 11. Like, no, you're taking a shot in the dark, you're putting a blindfold on and throwing a dart at the board. And if you manage to get like a 6'9" freight train who wants to put people in a casket, awesome. If you get a guy who's going to be injury prone for the rest of his career, like Zion, kind of like where you're like, oh my God, the athleticism is there and he's freaky. And then you're like, he's on the court 7% of the time. So it doesn't really matter. There's no elevator pitch I can give you that isn't just this guy could be really, really cool. And he's only 18 right now. It's going to be 19, but like, there's also the possibility that this is just like we took a chance on him and it didn't turn out. So
Okay.
He was a 5-star guy out of high school. Like he was one of the, I think, top 10 at a time in his class. So you want to know the injuries that he had? He tore his ACL, tore his meniscus, and he fractured his knee.
Damn.
So
Wow.
his knee is like I don't know if it's both knees or like they're
So just a
kind of-
complete shot in the dark here. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
and he's still really
I understand
athletic.
where we're going.
And like at Arizona State, I honestly think he's he's this year's Rob Williams, where he could be this
Time
super
Lord.
athletic, just blocks everything, flies all over the court, grabs every rebound. But then he's out for the whole season, and you're not surprised by it.
I see. Okay, gotcha.
But his
Interesting.
defense
Well-
is ridiculous when he's been healthy.
Okay. Well, the next highest guy on your board, Mr. Sider, is Cameron Carr out of Baylor. I feel like that one's. I don't know if we need to spend too much time there. That one kind of feels
Carr.
like a if you know, you know. Like he's going to be a really good player. He's probably like I don't. It's not a good player comp, but he feels very Danny Green-ish to me. Where like he's probably never going to be better than your 5th starter, but probably will never be worse than your 6th man. Like he's just going to play on a good team and provide good minutes and just be a solid 2-way guy.
he will be better Devin Vassell. There we go.
Whoa. Hey,
Yeah.
look, I'm a big Devin Vassell guy.
I have
so
watched
that's a
like none
high-
of this guy. I'll be honest.
I truly think if like he's a combine riser. That's the thing. Is like
Mhm.
he could be.
That's all
Is, that
I've
as
seen.
big, is he as big as Devin Vassell?
All I
He's
saw
just
was the one
6'5".
scrimmage.
He's not quite as big as
6'5"-ish.
Vassell,
He's
right?
like 6'4" and change, but like
Yeah.
I just like in terms of like what like you said, like you're a guy that you're like, okay, you're dependable. I'm gonna roll you out into the playoff lineup. Like that's who he is. Like
Where's he from?
He,
What
I
school?
don't know where he's from originally. He went to Tennessee and then transferred to Baylor.
Okay.
But yeah,
oh
I
dude,
mean,
wait, hold on. You've seen his combine shit, right? Like is that
I
yeah,
watched
yeah.
I watched
Okay.
the scrimmage. That's it. That's the only time
Yeah.
I've seen him.
okay.
he's definitely going to be good. I have no doubts about that one.
Yeah.
I want to get to some of these back after the first.
The next guy, I want to talk about the next guy,
LeBaron.
LeBron Fallon.
LeBron. Yeah, he's someone. You could make the Rob Dillingham case
I
for
think
me
he's
of
gonna
like
be-
he's going to be too
no.
small, but he's
He's gonna be the
just
steal
such
of
a
the
talented
draft.
player. He's
gonna
a
be the
very
steal of
very
the
talented
draft.
basketball player. I feel pretty good he's going to figure something out. I think the talent is
He-
definitely there.
I'm not. I guess I'm gonna predict this. He's gonna have one of those careers where he starts in like a lower role off the bench for like behind a very
Yeah.
good guard, and then he gets too good for that role. Eventually, he gets more responsibility. Then he leaves. Like, I'm not saying he's gonna be Jalen Brunson. Then he leaves to like another team. He gets a bigger role, and then becomes like a legit starter somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know. He's gonna be Finals MVP, but he kind of feels like 99th percentile Bones Highland to me, like the best version of Bones Highland for a sustained stretch. I feel like
No, he's so much smarter though. He's so smart though too. Is he's
I'm- but
wily and he's smart.
that is kind of Bones Highland downfall. That's what I'm getting at.
I'm surprised the Nemhard comp hasn't floated around in your brains. Like
Hmm.
that's exactly what his path is. A guy who you're like, wow, you actually really outgrew that role that we thought you were going to be in, and now you can play alongside our guy. Like you're
Yeah.
actually going to be there.
He can score from all. Like he is one of the legit 3-level scorers. I think in the draft, he's a really nice mid-range jumper. He's more than comfortable taking an off dribble midi or an off balance midi. He's a good 3-point shooter. He's lightning quick. Like he can. Maybe this is me being a little biased because I saw him absolutely cook Hofstra in the round of 30, round of 64, whatever the hell it is. But I thought that he was really impressive to me. He was one of the biggest guys from the tournament that I was like, okay, I'm keeping an eye on him.
He's someone that I thought could have got drafted last year, to be honest. And I think good on him probably for sticking around.
Yeah, he rose his stock.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of his game, but the size, obviously, the question there. Next on Mr. Sider's board here, I'm just kind of working my way down at this point. Swain out of Tennessee. I think just the quick elevator pitch for him would just be he's kind of like the analytics darling of this draft. Him and Cameron Carr, yeah.
Okay.
So
but Swain to me, like the tape doesn't jump out to you too much, but he has some of the best. Oh, it's just like as far as like if we're talking about like star upside and things like that, like there's some good highlights here. But I think like the big selling point is when you look into like some of the advanced numbers, and this guy's just productive. Similar to what I said about Cameron Carr, honestly, like he's someone that I think is just going to plug in on a good team. Maybe he's a starter, maybe he's like an elite bench player, but he's going to pan out as a good two-way guy.
Okay.
Unless there's more to it. I don't know, Mr. Sider, is there more to it that I'm missing?
Do you know what's the machine or the torture device where they put your arms and legs on like the thing and they stretch them out? What's that thing called? You know, where you're on a table and your arms and legs are bound by rope and they move a wheel and it stretches you out.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
As if you put Tyreek Evans on that table and stretched him out.
So where the hell are you going with this?
If you put rookie year Tyreek Evans in like a 6'6" frame and made him like,
do you think Tyreek Evans has been mentioned on a podcast this many times?
He's never been mentioned.
No,
on twice so there's no way.
Like this shows to me that like the Swain downplay is real because he has so much TE in his fucking play style. Like,
is there that much off the dribble with him? I don't remember seeing a ton of like self creation.
Tyreek?
Ooh,
no, with Swain.
Like Swain. Oh. Yeah.
I've watched little of him, I'll be honest.
So
he's not someone I've watched a ton of.
He's probably what I would say is like, where do I want to place him number wise in terms of like the actual like slashers and drivers? The ability for him to really get that, like when this
guy just looks like a good player.
When you think of Tyreek Evans, rookie year Tyreek Evans, you don't think of like a bounding, broody body. You think of a guy who was very slinky, who was able to maneuver his way through defenses, who was also had kind of a little bit of flexibility in like every part of his body. That's what Swain has. Swain has the ability to just go, "Ooh, my arm is past you and lay me. Oh, wait a minute." Like he could be a 3-and-D wing, or he could just be a guy who's like just jumbo out there with like actual guard feel. His upside is literally a big creator who can go out and get his own. And that's just, I think, really dependent on where he lands though, because he also could be just that plug and play guy where you're like, okay, you're a safe pair of hands. You're going to be my 3-and-D here. Like
Aaron Wiggins.
I think he'll be better than Aaron Wiggins.
I hope he doesn't somehow become one of those OKC players that is just like, you know, they stow him for a year. Swain comes in year 2, and they're just like, "Oh, yeah, why we got rid of the Dort is because we have a 2-inch taller version who can shoot better." And it's like, "Oh, great, cool."
Am I wrong
Swain
to say
is big too? Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you're getting a stretched out version of a person who could be a Tyreek Evans creator. So like, it's pretty good.
Am I wrong to think that like if you're a draft pick, you just like are praying and hoping you don't get taken by OKC unless you're like a big man at this point? Because
Just
like
for
holy
playing
shit,
time.
I'm never gonna play. I might actually just like my rookie contract might end and I might have 17 NBA
If
games
you're,
under my belt.
you
if
basically
you're a
have-
guard,
yeah.
you pray it's not OKC.
Regardless, let's say OKC consolidates, they end up with one pick in this draft. There's still two other guys that are pretty much rookies that you're going to be joining with Topic and Sorber. So, yeah, the playing time it's going to be tough. But I mean, I don't think anyone's going to be mad to end up on OKC at the end of the day.
They're like free ring.
Yeah,
Let's
so
go.
they're going to be in a good spot for their development, I would think. But Swain, to me, he's someone that kind of like similar to like Cedric Howard's opportunity with
He has
Memphis.
some George
where-
Bush to him.
Sure. But I'm not comparing him to Cedric Howard. I just mean more so the opportunity of like, if he ends up on a team where like there's not really much happening here and he's able to kind of emerge as more of a high usage guy, then I could maybe see the path. But to me, he feels very like elite role player type. Just watching the film. And also, I think I had a brain fart at Tennessee. He went to Texas. I think it's because I was talking about Cameron Carr. But
We can't get to all of these guys, man.
yeah, I do want to fly through a few of these. One
Bennett
guy I
Sturt's a good
don't.
one to mention. Oh,
Bennett Sturts is pretty like I think we're all consensus on Bennett Sturts. He's 4-year white point guard who plays the game the right way, and he's going to be a solid backup point guard.
Whoa.
He's not like
But
just
do you guys
typical
have any
white
other
point guard,
thoughts?
though.
Are you
He's
gonna stray away
he's
from
a
that?
he's a hoopa.
He's the type of guy that you'd want your daughter to
he's-
date. Like he's just
He's
a
the
good guy
next
in the
Colin
locker room,
Gillespie
and
story. That's what he is.
That's what I mean. It's pretty straightforward. I don't know. Given
It's
that
just
we're
funny
kinda
that
pressed
you
on time
went-
at this point.
He's a white point guard that plays the game the right way. You could have like paused a little bit between
No.
those sentences.
No,
but
I'm straight to the point with that one.
Oh, we
I'm
need to talk
glad
about
to
Nate
see.
Ahmed.
I don't know. I mean,
He's probably the highest prospect that we haven't talked about yet.
I suppose. I mean, to me, it's another one of like I think this
Dude, the
discourse has
freaking Nets
had when
might
it comes
take
to
him
Ahmed.
at 6.
Oh my god, I don't know about all that. Like
There's
it's
so
clear,
much rumblings about that. That the interest keeps. They keep talking about how Nate Ahmed has been on the radar of the Nets front office from like multiple.
to me,
different people.
I don't know. Mr. Sider, you tell me if I'm off on this, but Nate Ahmed to me is like if Michael Porter Jr. wasn't good at basketball. That's kind of what I see. Like, am I crazy? Like, I can see the upside. I see the idea behind the potential, but like, there's just not a lot of substance to
His
what I
back
watch.
is intact.
I'd say
His back
he's
is
more.
intact. That's true.
I'd say he's more Smid than MPJ. I think
Okay.
there's way more.
I
This
yeah,
guy's-
yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah,
like
I
that.
think he's much more like, yeah, he's got a jumper, but he only hits it 32% of the time.
Dude,
Yeah, he
he's
can
ricochet.
jump over you and shoot. Yeah, like that's what it is. It's like a team is gonna look at him and be like, oh, he can just shoot over everybody because that's what he's been doing. Yeah, he's got to hit them though. Like 33% on like 4 attempts is not very like, oh boy, like I can't wait to get this guy. Like
He looks like Nate or Nate. He looks like Ben Simmons and Zachary Risashe like popped out a child.
That's not the two players you want to be compared to. I don't know. He's not going to go number one at least, but
he
No, his
also
face, he's got
unfortunately
Simmons' face.
he unfortunately it was like kind of like misused in Tennessee. He was much more like, hey, those bigs aren't doing shit, so we just get to W in the pocket every single time. And he just goes, guess I'll shoot at them. Like nobody else is doing fucking anything here. It's the lateral fluidity that is like really cool for me because like it's not often that a 6'10" guy kind of like moves like this. And not to say that it's like the Rutgers Bailey kind of he's got wiggle and size, but Ace Bailey was also,
Whoa!
but Bailey was
Whoa.
also like a much better athlete. So like that's why I have how many asterisks do I have next to him? Two asterisks.
double asterisk on him. Yeah. So high upside there. I'm glad to see that you had Isaiah Evans fairly high on your board. He's a guy that even last year, like he would have been easily in my first round last year. And I think he's, I don't know. I just keep thinking about Tim Hardaway Jr. when I think about Isaiah Evans. I think he's not, he doesn't have quite the aura maybe of a THJ, but I think Isaiah Evans is going to be.
One
just,
would argue he has more aura.
I would argue Malik Beasley before gambling. I would say that.
Yeah,
Evans-
like he just feels like someone that just makes sense to have a 10 to 12 year NBA career as long as
He is
doesn't
the number.
pull out a rifle
he's-
or anything and like point it at his baby mama and kids. Malik Beasley did
He's
that,
the
by way.
guy I want on the Knicks more than anybody. Like if he's there at 24 and the Knicks don't take him, I'm not gonna be upset because they won a title, but like that's the guy I want them to take at 24 because assuming Landry Shamit's gone and Mitchell Robinson not coming back, like Jordan
There you
Clarkson's
go.
gonna
There's
be-
your Shamit replacement.
That's
right
what I'm
there,
saying. Like
bro.
he's
Yeah, right.
perfect. And then maybe he becomes good enough that Josh Hart's like, oh, cool. I'll just go back to the bench and be like Josh Hart is a 6-man. I love Josh Hart as a starter. I have a mixed relationship with.
Fair enough.
But regardless, I'm not going to talk bad about any of the players. But I think he would be a great fit for the Knicks to supplement, like as a Shamit replacement. He's another one of the guys where I don't think he's going to be a star necessarily, but he'll be at least a very good offensive player and at least a shooter.
Star at his role, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Like I could see him being a guy who one day gets up to like 16 points a game off the bench and is in contention for 6-man of the year.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's pretty clear he's gonna just be a solid role player for a long time with his shooting.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
Mr. Sider, I need the elevator pitch on one Alan Graves because I haven't watched a lick of him. We're starting to get to the territory of like I haven't watched some of these guys. I don't know anything about Alan Graves. I know he went to a smaller school and he's got some size, but give me the elevator pitch.
All right. Do you like Shane Battier?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Do you like Robert Covington?
I mean, he's lame. Shane Battier is
I
kinda
did.
lame.
There was for a select few seasons there. Yeah.
Okay.
Robert Covington School. Bob Cove.
I think Graves is going to be this draft's
Man,
like
I haven't thought about Robert Covington. in a
like
while.
right like okay, Graves is going to come in and be like you're actually like contributing to a winning environment. You're a 6'9", 225 4 who is like very deliberate with what you want to do on the offense. You're a blazing 3-point shooter. You can scale that up a little bit in the league. You fight for rebounds. You do all like the nitty gritty stuff.
You're built
Your
like
active
Anthony
hands,
Gill.
Like
Hey,
you got that Grant Williams body, you might it's just there is always going to be a market for guys who are deliberately paced, make very few mistakes, are effective on ball and dynamic when they're off the ball. If the biggest gripe I could have is that his shot might be a little slow, sure. But I think the things that you look at Graves are the things that you want in a winning player, a la PJ Washington, for like guys that you want to add to your team that is already in a good environment. What might suck is if the shot keeps the level of release and the speed of release that it still does. What sucks is he might be overly not above the rim enough to survive against other fours. Like Siakam might look at this guy, lick his lips, wipe his shoes, and fucking walk him down from half court for all I know. But Graves, I think, is a very like winning contributor. I think Rocco and like Shane are like probably the two best examples I can give of this, where it's like you're a steady pair of hands. If we pick you at 26, we're living with whatever production you give us because at least you're giving us like a solid rotational player.
Shades of Georges Niang.
oh jeez, no. How do we go from Robert Covington to Georges Niang? No.
That's so funny.
All right, we don't have a lot of time here. We got to kind of.
Who else are you interested in? I can tell you.
Yeah, I'm interested why you have Karim Lopez so low. Like, I get that it's not a ton of substance.
I can put this for you easy. It's because he's not very good. That's would be the reason.
Yes,
he doesn't have a position.
Yeah, no, keep going because I love this. This is exactly.
I mean, he doesn't have I don't know what he's guarding. Like, he's not going to be a very good defender from what I've seen. I watched him because you were so high on him. Like, some people think he's like this point forward. I don't see him ever being. He's a guy. He's a guy who can pass, but he's not like some gifted passer. He's not a great finisher. He can't shoot the ball very well. I don't see any actual skill with him to where he has potential. He's got big hair and he's kind of tall.
He is. He is. Dion, you're gonna hate this one. He's Tijan Salon.
Oh no!
If my team drafted him, I'd be pissed.
Like Lopez is literally like, oh, he's a raw building block with very little actual ball skills, but he's got a frame. He offers you like very little of anything.
Imagine Caleb Wilson was way worse. He wasn't as athletic and he wasn't as wiry.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a good player. I don't know.
Exactly.
I see him as being a really good player in transition. I think on both ends. I think that
it's like the worst good quality you can have is being good in transition. If you're bad at transition, you're just stupid.
That's not the worst point I've ever heard. But yeah, I will say he does struggle more in a half court setting. But I think with the athleticism, I think even though Mitch, you pointed to him like, a lot of gambles defensively, I do like some of the instincts when it comes to just being a playmaker. I don't know. I would just have him more like middle of the first round rather than like just a flyer you take in the late 20s.
I'd rather just like trade the pick.
Yeah, if I'm any team in the top 15 and I take Lopez, I would riot. Like
if I'm the Bucks or something and they take him as their Giannis replacement at 10, I'm fucking emptying the shotgun.
Yeah, I to be clear, I'm definitely not trying to make the case that he has like star upside. I just think there's enough there to believe that he'll be someone with a long NBA career. Like I can see the path for it.
He was unimpressive in a supportive role on a bad New Zealand team. The Breakers were very like mediocre, middle of the pack, and he never once was like, "Oh, that's the best player on the floor." No, like from what I saw, it was a guy who had very limited tangible ball skills. The jumper was not solid or fast or something that you could put a lot of faith in. He is not somebody who was making his own offense.
Be a good NBA player.
He hasn't passed the eye test, so to speak.
He actually looks like 2K auto-generated. Like he looks like a 2K created character.
You want to know the best thing that I could like just paint the picture for you to show you why he's not going to be like a good NBA player? You know, when you're, at like a YMCA or a Planet Fitness or whatever, and you're playing and like somebody drives, they pick up the dribble and they just turn around to pass it out because they're scared of what to do next and they have no idea what they're doing. And they're just like, somebody at the top will shoot. That's Lopez's game. That's I made it this far. What do I do next? Like, there's nothing that look at.
He plays up he's more of a forward in New Zealand and like defensively he's 6'5". He's not playing up against NBA players.
6'5".
He's 6'8". He's 6'8".
Yeah, I was gonna say what? I thought he was
what? The last thing
if you Google him, he's 6'9". I honestly, if I were to give him
Basketball Reference has him listed as 6'5".
I'm not sure about that, but regardless.
No, it's backwards.
International.
That is pretty interesting.
There's a realm where he turns into something, but he's a project piece. Like that's what you're getting. You're getting a project piece.
Like, I don't think he's quite Salon level, but I'm not high on him.
Yeah.
Fair. All right. Is there anyone else that you wanted to get to? I know we missed a couple players on your board, but we're kind of pressed for time at this point.
No, I think one thing that this draft is going to be really surprising is just how many of the guys who come out of this in the late second round or unsigned free agents are going to be actual genuine contributors to an NBA roster. A lot of people I've seen with like their big boards and their mocks, like you kind of, I know this sounds like pretentious as shit, but like you kind of get your top 10 are relatively the same, interchangeable. Your 15 to 25 seem relatively the same, interchangeable. Hell, my like last 15 names are probably interchangeable with like 4 other mocks. But like you have guys like Evans, you guys like Malik Thomas, you have people who genuinely make differences in an NBA position. Like it's not going to be, we're going to build around this guy at 32, but like Malik Brown is another name who just genuinely could see an actual roster. Terrace Reed Jr. Like there's so many guys where you're like,
that brings up actually something. The final thing I want to ask you, I guess, before we get out of here, because the Knicks could draft a big with their 31st pick. I've done a lot of Terrace Reed watching. I really like him so far from what I've seen. I feel like he could be pretty much an ideal Mitchell Robinson replacement if you lose him because of his offensive rebounding and his size. But I've seen a lot of people also say Henry Visar or whatever it is from North Carolina, and I feel like from what I've seen of him, he just doesn't feel like he's going to be good enough defensively at the next level. Like I don't think he had. What have you seen for him? Because I know you have him on this list.
He, in my opinion, and I mean this in like the nicest way, he's going to be like a Jay Huff kind of big, where you're serviceable in spurts. I'm not going to lay you out as my like 32 minutes a game kind of guy. He actually is a very competent floor spacer, like Huff, in my opinion.
Like, is that like a good cat backup?
I mean, to say this in like the nicest way, you might be getting like Vooch 70%, and like that's still a good player. Like that's still a good player.
They're all-star.
But like he's a skilled big who has intangibles offensively. I think defensively, he's always going to be one of those guys where he just gets blocks because his hands are in the right place at some point. But he's never going to be a guy where you're like, oh, thank you for erasing this mistake for me, brother. Like, no. he's agile enough to cover that ground. I just don't think that's going to be the blueprint for his success. But like cat backup, I wouldn't be too mad.
Yeah,
about it.
I think I don't want another I want a good defense. I feel like Taurus is probably the better.
I'll be honest, as a UConn fan, and look, I'm no draft expert, but I definitely watched way more UConn than everyone else in this draft, besides maybe like the top 3. Really good basketball player, don't get me wrong, but he's closer to Montrezl Harrell than Mitchell Robinson. I don't know that he's providing a ton of rim protection for you. Yes, the offensive rebounding is there, and he's probably more skilled offensively than Mitchell Robinson, but not the defensive replacement. Like you're definitely not going to draft him and think that like he's going to fill that role. I would say he's also he's a little bit undersized.
I just saw. I know he's like 6'10" or 11, but I've seen the blocks. I guess
he can block a shot or two, but I wouldn't really call him a rim protector. He's more of like a decent positioning.
Average 2 a game in college isn't.
Solid. But I think it's more of like a positioning thing. Like I think in the NBA, it's just he's going to be decent enough, but not someone that like boosts your defensive rim protection necessarily. Just kind of like
he's not a guy. He's not a guy that's going in the first round, probably anyway. So
probably not. He is getting a lot of buzz though, a surprising amount. But
he's probably going to go early second.
Makes sense. Well, that's all I wanted to get to. Shout out to Abuka Okori. He's a guy that I like, but we just don't have the time to get into this. We've been recording for quite a while now, so gonna wrap this one up here, fellas. Thank you for joining me. We will be doing. We haven't figured out exactly what we want to do. We're going to be
going live for at least the draft lottery. At least we will be live for at least the lottery, and we'll play it by ear. We might
up
go
until
longer.
Pick 19.
Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe we'll go in and out because with the draft being just the first round on Tuesday, it's definitely going to drag out. It's going to take some time. So it depends on how much editing I feel like I want to do because we did, Mitch, if you remember, live stream the 2024 draft, and I don't know if you guys know this. I was up till like 4 a.m. editing that episode, so I don't necessarily want to do that again. So we'll see, but we will.
Well, sometimes you don't get a choice.
Sometimes you don't in life, but we will see. We'll be live Tuesday for sure in some capacity. So make sure you subscribe to the pod so that you get the notifications for when we go live. Check us out on socials at 2for1 Hoops, Instagram and TikTok. And until the draft, hope everyone has a great rest of their day.